Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and the press conference and trailer information for number one Sentai Gozyuger have finally dropped, and I'm very excited, so let's just get right into it. I'm going to go through all the stuff we see in the trailer and sprinkle in some of the other information we've gotten. So we start off establishing the ring contract in the beginning with the voiceover. They say like whoever collects all these rings will be granted a wish, which seems to be a big part of the show. One thing that I find immediately interesting right off the bat is this is not the voice of the Tega sword, which we definitely hear later on. I don't know who this is exactly. My guess is it's Wataru Komada, a voice actor. That's not a character. They're a announcer character in the show. So I don't know. It might tie into some things I'll get into in a second. But they also establish the anniversary stuff immediately. We get the 50th logo. If you didn't know, this is celebrating 50 years of Super Sentai, so there you go. Then we also get like a crazy establishing shot of all of like these broken Sentai mecha. You know, Vardodoon. I'm not gonna name all of them because there's a lot of them in there. There's a bunch of, one thing I think is cool, we get a bunch of like carrier robos. Those usually aren't like included in stuff like this. And then we get like another look at the same shot later on where we see like more actual suits. Like the first shot seems like some toy or like Photoshop work. Later is like actual suits. I wonder how many of the suits have now been destroyed beyond repair. So this is apparently, or most likely, a result of the Universe War, which we're told was a tremendous calamity between Super Sentai Robos that was ended by the Tega sword at the cost of the creation of Sentai rings across the universe, splitting powers and stuff like that, whatever. So now Sentai rings are attracted to people with strong wishes, which the Tega sword sponsors for the battle for the rings to see who will be the number one in the universe. If the voice of the Tega sword announcement at any point in this sounded familiar, it's because the Tega sword is voiced by Gaon's voice actor from zenkaiger, Yuki Kaiji, or Kaji, I think, not Kaiji. Which was very surprising to me. I didn't think he would come back. I guess it's been a few years since zenkaiger, but, you know, like, those are both, like, prominent main roles. So that's pretty cool to me, though. So from there, we do get into the Rangers, the main actors, characters. So first, we'll start off with Goju Wolf, who is Tono Hureru. He's being played by Mio Fuyuno and suit actor Kosuke Asai, who has done a bunch of other previous Reds as well. He is a bad-mouthed stray with no friends or family that works part-time jobs, lives life without any wishes after a certain incident. They intentionally left that vague, which I'll get into again later. Also, he likes howling, like, ooh. He does that in the press conference and in the trailer at one point. So I guess he's just a wolf boy. Then we get Goju Leon actually, played by Rikuo Hyakuya. He's played by Hidaru Suzuki, suit actor Yasunari Sukagoshi. He is a charismatic, ingenious super idol forced to leave his agency after a certain incident. Once again, vague. He seems like a lot of fun because it's a guy that's an idol. I know those are real things, but I don't think Sentai has ever really done anything like that, so I think it's kind of fun to see them do that. Goju Tirano, yellow, is Ryugi Bakugami, played by Kanda Masakazu, suit actor Donkey Sakai. He's a strong but naive orphan that ran away from his strict family after becoming a Tega sword follower. So since the Tega sword is meant to be like a literal god, like it's a big robot or whatever, I think it's really fun we have a guy that is like a religious zealot of the Tega sword. And I do wonder if that's like if other people are aware of the Tega sword and like that's just a general religion, or if it's just this one guy that's super devoted to him. I hope it's just the one guy. That'd be way funnier. Goju Eagle is Kinjiro Takehara, played by Jin Matsumoto, suit actor Shogo Teramoto. a serious high school student who wishes to become more party-loving that is estranged from his family. Not really much to him. He's probably my least favorite just because, like, there's not really a lot. I mean, I like his personality, wanting to be party-loving, but not a serious student. I could relate to that a little bit. But besides that, Goju Unicorn, last up, Sumino Ichikawa, played by Maya Imamori, and suit actor Ayumi Shimazono, who played Majin in zenkaiger, but also played Majade, Kamen Rider Majade, from last year's Gotchard, who was also a unicorn-themed character in a show with episodes written by Akiko Inoue, who's writing the most of, or head writer of Gozyuger. So that's kind of a funny little quinky-dink that happened. Anyways, Sumino is a high-class luxury meitante, as she says in the trailer, or detective, who uses her charm as a weapon after becoming an outcast at police academy after a certain incident. Wish one of the other characters was a girl. Maybe the zealot, religious zealot woman character would have been kind of funny. So at the press conference as well, we got the full team together and they did the morph and roll call. The changer says, like, clap your hands, and they clap and they do a little dance. And I think that's really fun. I really quite like that. It's kind of funny how they're going to be dancing and stuff when it's supposed to be, like, I guess a battle royale of sorts for Sentai. The only other hero cast member is Sayori Lijima, something like that, played by Noriko Nagagoshi, who I believe is the real life wife of Time Red. So that's fun. And she's gonna be the owner of the Half Century Cafe. Half a century is 50, so you know, there's your little pun there. And the cafe seems to be the base of operations for the show, since I believe Red is going to be living there, and apparently she entrusts the ownership to Yellow, and I think Green and Black work like part-time there. Blue, maybe it's his favorite idol cafe spot, I don't know. They show us the monsters, like, of the week first before the actual, like, guys in charge. So the monsters are kind of interesting because we knew this before, but they're going to be number one in a category. So the guy who talks is Treasure Hunter number one. But he's like kind of a Bokenger reference, because Treasure Hunter, Bokenger, and he does like the snap thing that Boken Red does in his the roll call. So it makes me wonder, I didn't take a closer look at the other monsters, but it makes me wonder if all of the monsters are going to be these vague references to the other Sentai, like not very in your face like donbrothers was, but maybe they're all going to be kind of like, you know, like number one robot or gear kind of like monsters, something to that effect. Let me know if you think that's what they're going to be doing here. Also, let me know who's your favorite ranger. I forgot to ask that. I think that they're all like very strange in different ways. Again, I'll talk a bit more about them later because there's one interesting part of them. So anyways, the actual villain faction is called Bryden, or Buraidan. The leader is two characters in one body, Mr. Shiny Knife and Mrs. Sweet Cake. Shiny Knife is voiced by Tomokazu Sugita, who was also the voice of Kivat from Kamen Rider Kiva, Ultraman Ginga from the titular show, the voice of all the Kira Major equipment and King Orodin in Kira Major, and Kamen Rider Ginga in Ultraman Ginga. So he's been around. Mrs. Sweet Cake is voiced by Reina Ueda, who played Akane in SSSS Gridman and associated content. So there are a couple of tokusatsu veterans. Technically, Reina hasn't been in an actual toku, but Gridman is toku adjacent. So, close enough. I find it very fascinating that we got a zenkaiger voice actor and a Gridman voice actress. We were so close to something there, but alas, I've lost once again. Fire Candle, insane name, is played by Daisuke Sambongi. And there's apparently some kind of dynamic relationship with Goju Wolf that they're talking about. And then the girl is named Bouquet, and she's played by Marupi. No last name because she's like an idol. So the big thing with the villains I like is that there's like there's obviously a bridal theme here. Cake, knife to cut the cake, candles on the cake, a bouquet. The foot soldiers are all of bells, like wedding bells, and the gimmicks are rings, which is, engagement rings or wedding rings, and the Rangers are putting on rings to form a contract with Tegasword, possibly other characters as well. So I think that's really cool. Like I wouldn't have thought of doing like a bridal theme thing for the villains, but it makes so much sense because the main gimmick is rings. We also get to see the big robots. They just kind of point out like, hey, there's big robot characters. They do look, well, no, they definitely look different from the smaller monsters. They don't look like they're sized up like character monsters. Now, one thing with the villains that's interesting is that in the press conference we got this one guy called Guromu, and he's not in the trailer at all. He's not in the announcement stuff at all. Just curious what's going on with that. Like, why did they create this character to throw into the stage play at the press conference and not include him anywhere else? Not a huge deal, but I don't know. Just something I felt I should point out. Another villain. They introduced his character at the press conference with the villains, but we don't know anything about him. His name is Kuwan. We know he's the president of an AI company. He has his merch on. That's it. I mean, we know the actor's favorite Sentai, I think. All the actors were saying, like, their favorite Sentai and stuff. But he's, like, he doesn't even get, like, a little announcement in the trailer. He's barely at the end. And he seems very suspicious. I'm looking forward to him. Because I think he probably has something to do with the versus Super Sentai that we see. So, in the trailer, we get to see Ryusou Red, Danmo Motaro, and Kuwagata Oger with a silver Tegasword with presumably their associated Sentai ring in there, and a Gozyuger buckle. So they're like evil, maybe evil, but they're at least alternate copies of the past Sentai Reds, and they're fighting the Gozyugers. So I'm really excited to see what's going on with this, because there's so many questions. Who's using this equipment? Are they the past actors? Are they Taro himself, Gira himself? Are they the villains, like our two human villains? Are they going to be suiting up as these other Reds? Are they just going to be new characters, just random people turning into past Reds? Like, instead of a victim of the week, it's a Sentai Red of the week. Another thing that kind of makes this a little interesting is that the stage show press conference play, they did have Danmo Motaro and Kuwagata Oger with Boon Red and zenkaiger, all voiced by past actors, and the plot of the whole stage play was that separate villain character mind controlling the Reds, and then the Gozyugers had to fight them and free them. It does make me think that the plot is going to be, at least for these like recent Reds where they can probably get the actor pretty easily back, those will probably be the past actors. I don't see why they would set up or tease us with these actors in the stage show if they weren't going to be in the show itself. Maybe for older characters they'll bring in a different actor, a new actor or something, since, older actors' schedules conflict and stuff like that. But either way, I mean, honestly, they could do whatever they want, because I think having these past Reds showing up, but with a Tegasword, a special Tegasword too, we didn't know anything about a silver Tegasword, and fighting against the current Sentai is so cool. I love that. And I just love how chaotic this whole dynamic feels, where we've got the Rangers, which could be fighting against each other, versus normal bad guys and monsters, versus Reds doing their own thing. Like, it's just a whole mess. Like, are the Reds going to be good guys, kind of? Are they going to fight monsters too? In addition to past Rangers, we also get to see form changes. We see, well, I mean, we only see it for a second, but we see Gojun Leon using presumably the Boonboomger ring, because he's just straight up Boon Red with his blue armor on top. And I'm gonna be honest, it looks bad. I think it looks very bad. At least for him. I'm sure when all the ones Red does, I'm sure they're gonna look awesome. But I mean, at least we confirmed what Sentai rings are gonna be doing. They're just gonna give them the old Sentai suits, which is really interesting. I think that's a really cool thing. Like another, but like they're the old Sentai suits, but their armor like augmented onto it. I love the suits so much more now that we see all of them in action. The ring pattern is like this cool sparkly color, and it like really shines in the action scenes, and it looks so cool. Also, I forgot to mention it earlier, I think it's really funny, everyone was thinking they were gonna put some symbol in the ring when they use past Sentai ring powers, and instead that's the one part of the suit that's being kept when they change powers. Some other stuff we get from not in the trailer itself, but from the press conference, we're told the opening theme, which you can hear, they're playing it throughout the entire trailer. It's called Winner Gozyugers by the band Wieners? I don't know how you're supposed to say their name. I think it's supposed to sound like Winners, or like, it's supposed to look or sound like that, so I guess they got a band to like, because Winner Gozyuger, I don't know, I think that's fun. And then the ending theme is called Bili Bili Believing, and it's performed by Miyu Kaneko, sorry. And it was in the press conference, and I thought it sounded cool. Another thing is that they announced we're getting an episode 0 airing February 2nd, so like in a few days here. I don't think they've told us what it is, but we've just got a picture that's like CG every Sentai Robo ever. That's not true, but a lot of them. So I wonder if that's gonna show us the universe fight or whatever it was called with like, is it Tegasword and the other Robos or something like that? The biggest thing I find interesting is that there's a lot of stuff in the trailer we do not see. There's no sign of Tegasword, like normal Tegasword, in the entire trailer. Like, I mean, we see normal Tegasword, like the big robot, but we don't hear any, like, he doesn't say anything, right? Unless I'm misremembering. I mean, he says the Ranger names, but that's like transformation announcements. We don't get any dialogue. We don't see like how he's communicating with the Rangers. So I'm really interested to actually see that dynamic. I mean, while I'm talking about Tegasword though, like the robot actually looks so cool. I love all the different combos of the Ranger mechas with their weapons. Love seeing the weapons finally in action too, since we've only seen the toys, which look kind of weird. From the backstories of the Rangers, we're told, well, most of them all have some kind of secret part. Like, they all just say there's a certain incident that happened. So I'm curious to learn what that is, but I'm really interested to see if that's how they formed like a contract with Tegasword. If, like, because we know Yellow's is kind of him becoming a Tegasword follower, so like, did all of them have an incident that made them follow Tegasword? Does that mean, like, is the contract going to be pre-established? Like, are we going to start the show with them already in this fight or not? Right? Like, are we going to see the opening? Like, was there an incident, and then the first episode or whatever of the show is going to be them forming the contract? There's a lot of stuff they could be doing here, since they've been kind of playing with different introductions to characters in Sentai. And then the big thing too, again, that we didn't hear anything about, kind of came out of nowhere, is the silver Tegasword that the past Reds are using. We heard about past Reds, but we didn't know they'd be using their own Tegasword device. Where do the silver ones come from? What is the difference between the silver and gold Tegaswords? I'm really curious in that. Like, are the gold ones only given by the Tegasword, and if you just connect with a Sentai ring, you get the silver Tegasword? Alternatively, I've seen some speculation the silver Tegaswords could be artificial, because we have, I forgot his name already, but the AI guy, maybe he creates those or something, and then they use a Sentai ring in that. Another thing too is that we know there's a Silver Ranger coming. The Sixth Ranger is going to be a Silver Ranger, who's like polar bear themed, and we have a Silver Changer right now. Obviously, I know he's not going to use that device because it's just a straight repaint, but it sounds. I mean, there's something kind of. I feel like that has to lead into the Sixth Ranger somehow, right? Like, there's no way you introduce a silver variant of the main Ranger Changer that's gold, then we get a Silver Ranger with his own Silver Fist device. That they have to be connected, right? I don't know how, but like maybe he got a hold of one of them and modified it into his own device or something like that. Like, it has to be connected. So surely someone from me saying this is going to think the AI guy is going to be the Silver Ranger. No, this happens every year. A group of people think that a pre-established character is going to be the Sixth Ranger, and it's always a new character because it just always is a new character. The exception to that is Jeremy from King Gozyuger, kind of, because he was the narrator, but he was never announced as a narrator, as a cast member, until he joined as Spider Kumonos. That's why I think it's kind of interesting we have an established narrator character here, because that makes me, like, he's not going to be a ranger, but I wonder if he's going to be a character at some point. I don't know to what extent. Like, maybe like they reveal like Geet's style, the game they're playing, the competition is all like someone's set up and it's the narrator and that's why he's narrating. I don't know. I could see them doing some kind of plot twist with this narrator character. I am honestly really, really excited for this show. I mean, I was excited before we got the trailer and stuff because I think the Changer being the robot that you can attach weapon parts to and it gives it different modes, I think that's really awesome. That alone, that base concept, sold me on that toy line. I will probably be picking up at least the Tegasword on release. We'll see where I go from there with buying the rest of the line. But let me know if you are as excited as I am for #1 Sentai Gozyuger. Tell me any and all of your theories, ideas, hopes down in the description. Will you be buying the toys? As always, I will be doing a big review of episode 1 when that drops, and afterwards I'll be doing reviews for every episode in short review format. I'll also probably do that for episode 0, and I've got a series review of Boonboomger on the way once that show finishes, so make sure you subscribe to check all of that out, and I hope to see you next time.